Many of you heard about the homeless encampments that were shot at today in Minneapolis. And this is the first thing that I thought about.
Billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
I'm sure that this is just a coincidence. We know that that's probably not the case. I wouldn't be surprised if this piece of shit's words influenced somebody else to actually act upon them. But yeah, Democrats, the left, liberals are the problem.
White privilege is the Fox News anchor having to apologize for saying that the homeless should be euthanized, whereas the Washington Post fired Karen Attiah, a black woman, for using Charlie's own quote with no other commentary.
Let's get something clear. If you support firing a talk show host for his joke monologue where he really just repeated other people's opinions, and you're not outraged that a Fox News host called for the involuntary lethal injection of the homeless and mentally ill, that speaks volumes about you. Like volumes.
Fox News. Brian Kilmeade, another grifter on Fox News pretending to be a journalist. He thinks you solve the unhoused crisis by giving them lethal injection. And of course, they don't have a say in it. Somebody who's on national TV actually said something like that. Brian, you should be fired. Fox News, if you have any sort of integrity, which I know you don't, he should be fired. What is wrong with you people? Oh, wait, that's right. You have no ethics or integrity or don't care about people. You want to get those ad dollars so you can pay for those lawsuits. Cool.
I know y'all ain't heard about this, so I'm going to come tell you about it. Fox News said they need to start giving out involuntary. So I'm going to tell you what that means, baby. You don't have no say-so. So yes or no, it's going to be yes, because they said so. So that okay. Lethal injection on homeless people. That's what Fox News said, live. I can't make this shit up. I can't make it up. Or send them to jail. And the state that was pointed out was North Carolina. Mind you, these human beings that we talking about now, these ain't no dogs and nothing. Like, no, these people. No, like a physical body, like a person. Involuntary lethal injection on a person, ain't committed no crime. All they is homeless. That's it. God forbid somebody just be homeless. Y'all don't find that crazy? And I'm talking about he comfortable enough to say that and be okay with that. Mind you, this is live television. So what y'all think they gonna do? They said they gonna do it. I'm not here to provide my opinion on this. I'm just here to get y'all the facts. I'm gonna let y'all do that y'all self. And they came up with this conclusion by saying homeless people don't participate in what they give them, such as like the housing, the programs, or even the money, like etc.
So people are losing their job for voicing their opinion about the situation that happened last week with the person whose name I refuse to say. Those people are getting fired because they gave an unpopular opinion. But an individual on Fox made a statement saying that we should just unalive all the homeless people. Just be done with it. Rid ourselves of this problem. And now just yesterday, there were 2 mass shootings at homeless encampments in Minneapolis. Where's that same energy? How come that individual isn't fired? Wake up, America.
Just one question. Why does Brian Kilmeade at Fox News still have a job?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode. I really do appreciate your love and support on this channel. So there's been an issue about who can use freedom of free speech in the United States of America and who cannot. I mean, those people are privileged and the less privileged people. So it happened that this TV night host by the name Jimmy Kimmel, who was fired for his comments on Charlie Kirk's unaliving, but the comment was not even about Charlie Kirk, but it was about how Donald Trump acted, and they called for his firing, and right now people are boycotting for that. But the crazy part about this all is about who can use free speech and who cannot, because there is this Fox TV host who actually went on ahead and suggested on a live television the unaliving of homeless people. He came back and apologized, and he still has his work. Like, it's so crazy that Free speech is only free to those people who have power, and it's only free when it's actually fitting the narrative of those people who are against free speech. And it's actually raising the question, who is in a position to use free speech and who is not. I'd really love to know what your thoughts of what your take is on the comment section. I want us to watch these videos together, guys. Every clip and every stitch that you'll be seeing on this episode, credits belongs to the original creators of these videos that you're seeing on your screens. So let's just dive right ahead and we'll come back with more commentary.
He'd suggested simply killing homeless people. And why would that be something that a Fox News host suggests? Well, to some degree, we are seeing a great disinhibition. I'm going to explain that in a moment. Let's take a look at the clip of what he had to say. So Brian Kilmeade is floating involuntary lethal injection for people living on the street. His co-hosts barely flinch and they just keep going. Think about what that means. We've got a host of the most watched right-wing network saying that the solution to poverty and to mental illness is state-sanctioned murder. No outrage, no accountability other than a bad apology. And in a sense, this was so bad that Fox News even made him apologize. Take a look at the apology.
In the morning, we were discussing the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina, and how to stop these kinds of attacks by homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve our empathy and compassion.
Why is it that this is going on? There is a great disinhibition taking place here, and it comes from the top. The disinhibition when the President of the United States says, we're just going to federalize and militarize. Wow, I did not expect to struggle with that one. Militarize Washington, D.C. It's justified because Trump said it is. We're going to roll through the streets and oppress and suppress. So, of course, if you're a Fox News host, you go, let's go even further. We see this tragic instance of gun violence, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. By the way, there were 20 other shootings on that day. They got relatively little attention. But, okay, we had a day with 21 shootings, might have been 25, might have been 30. And they, to a degree, now have said it's open season on liberals. And so, of course, Brian Kilmeade is disinhibited. And this, by the way, the specifics of lethal injection, this all has a very ugly history. States like North Carolina forcibly sterilized poor people into the 1970s. Hitler admired American race laws when he designed his system. And so we like to pretend that there's nothing American about Brian Kilmeade's rhetoric. And I would argue there shouldn't be anything.
We live in a world where a Fox News host literally suggested that we should simply lethally inject all the homeless people and just get rid of them, and then made a very half-hearted and, quite frankly, disingenuous apology after no doubt realizing what a horrific thing he said. I mean, if you really genuinely hold such a hateful view, you would think this person would have enough brains in their head to not share it. Certainly not on live TV. And whenever I think the bar can't be lower, whenever I think there is no way that certain people can show their contempt for their human beings in a more real way, you hear comments like that. And it just goes to show some people genuinely don't see, they just don't see people who may be going through a hard time as human beings, worthy of love, respect, attention, and support. And I guess it means for those of us that do, we just have to work all the harder to negate that nonsense. Follow me for more legal TikTok.
Lethal injections for homeless people. Like, what are we even discussing right now? Like, oh, we got to get them off the streets. It's either, they accept what we give them or, we could offer them lethal injections. Like, what? That is so sick. casualties are needed in order to have the Second Amendment right. How many children have to die in order to see guns are the problem? Oh, it's people. It's the mental health. If you cared about mental health, then that means you cared about the affordability of life. That means you care about socialism, which means you want people to have better access, not only to living standards, but, education, healthcare. If you cared about somebody's mental health, then that means you have to focus on the things that causes somebody's mental health to decline. But y'all don't give a fuck about that other stuff. So you don't care about mental health. But you guys would rather people continue to die in this country. And somehow we send money, millions, billions, to them star people. I can't say the name now. And they just taking money. And we suffering. We are dying. Two black men were lynched this week in one day. There was a shooting in Minneapolis. 13, 5 critical. Y'all don't care about people, bro.
Hey guys. Recently something happened. This gentleman by the name of Brian Kilmeade, I think that's his last name. He's on that station that got sued by Dominion for all those millions, nearly $1 billion. Well, he got on his little comfortable little white couch with his little comfortable little friends and the little sellout on the end. And he had the caucasity to say with his full chest that homeless people should be euthanized. That homeless people should be involuntary euthanized. If they do not accept what the people want them to do, that they should be unalived. He said that with his full chest. Now that's evil on a whole other level. For you to have the caucasity to even let that come out your mouth. And after you say that, guess what happens? A homeless camp got shot up and 8 people were unalived. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Brian, those deaths are on your head. Yes, you manifested that into existence. And one day you will answer for that. You will answer for that as sure as I'm sitting here. But the fact of the matter is, those platforms y'all have, they're very, very influential. They're very powerful. You reach a lot of people, and you do not respect the power that you're sitting on. And you're out here sprouting things that are causing people their lives. And one day, what you do to the least of my brethren, you have done to him. So I hope you're ready to be held accountable for what you have spoke into the atmosphere. Because the Almighty on high is listening, and he is taking record. And you may not be afraid of anyone on this earth, and that's cool. But my faith and my trust is not in anybody on this earth. And I know that everyone will be held accountable for their actions. No one gets away with it, and neither will you. And that little mealy mouth apology you did, that doesn't erase the fact that you caused 8 lives of innocent people whose only crime was they were homeless. Yeah, you guys are real heroes running around here speaking death on people who are already unfortunate, already underprivileged, already lost everything. But that's not enough for you, that they've lost everything. You also want them to lose their lives. The cruelty that you guys have, the cruelty that you are capable of, is mind-boggling. And it truly lets me know that there is a vacant place in you where your soul should reside. So many of you people are soulless. And it's so evident how you are so careless and so frivolous with the lives of other people. Oh, but if it was your life, I bet it'd be a different story. May those people rest in peace. And also, while I'm at it, rest in peace, my brother Trey Reed. a young gentleman that was found unalive hanging from a tree at Delta College in Mississippi. You won't hear that on mainstream media. You won't hear a peep out of that. But we know what's going on. And the fact that you don't have the courage to go after your own, but you use these incidents as an excuse to come after people who has nothing to do with it and nothing to do with you. But your hatred for other people's existence drives you to the point to where you are nothing but a bunch of murderers. But you don't have that same energy for the one that killed one of your own. That is the biggest form of cowardness I've ever seen. This place has become a real disgusting place to exist in.
Yeah, guys, it's so crazy that someone in their right mind would just come and suggest for the unaliving of homeless people without even wanting to understand why homelessness is affecting so many people in the United States of America, to a point that it has gotten to a matter that they need to discuss it on a live television. And instead of, him coming up with ideas on how these people can be helped, the only idea that he can come up with is to wipe them off their streets, because maybe it's not a good looking picture for them. And I was looking at some of the factors that are actually causing or affecting so many people that end up to be homeless. One is high housing cost, and you've seen so many people complaining, even people ending up to living in storage spaces because they cannot afford to rent an apartment with them. And it's been going on for years, where you've seen people, they have to have a roommate for them to be able to afford a place to stay. And to some people, it has even now gotten harder as years go by to even afford to rent a house or rent out a place with a roommate, because every single year, every single time, the rent are rising up, and it seems like people don't even care about these. The government does not even care about this, because if they really do care, there will be some kind of like affordable housing where people living check to check pay would be able to afford a house that would not have them breaking their backs or having to work 3 to 4 jobs a day for them to afford a living, or for them to afford a better house to live in. And you've even seen people who are actually working who end up staying and living in their cars because they cannot afford to pay rent and afford to feed themselves at the same time. And not only single people, but you've also seen videos of people who have kids, like families, who end up being homeless because of how the economy of the United States of America is shifting. And the problem is that we are seeing house rents or housing going up while the cost of wages still remains the same, and it's making it hard for people to catch up with these high costs of living, for them to be able to afford their houses, for them to be able to afford their food. And for someone to come and, not even wanting to understand the real issues that the society is facing, and for them, the only way that they would sit there and think with their mind is, let's just wipe these people out. And later come to apologize and even not show any remorse about what he said. He doesn't even seem sorry of what he said. He's only apologizing because people are calling him out. It's not because he really wanted to apologize. And even going on ahead and calling out Jimmy for the comments that he made on Charlie Kirk on his night show. It's just so crazy that even Jimmy had to be cancelled. He had to be fired from his workplace for the comments that he said. And now they are trying to cancel or silence free speech, the freedom of free speech, just because of what Jimmy said and what other people have been saying. And they've been fired from their jobs from private corporates. And even some people that are actually working in the government have been fired because of their comments when it comes to CK's unaliving. But this man who is working on a live television, the whole world saw what he actually said about homeless people. He still has his job. That is quite crazy, and it's just showing us who has the power of free speech and who cannot use free speech. As long as you are privileged, or as long as those people that are against free speech are supporting you and support what you're saying, then that is free speech. But when other people try to do it and they're not supporting what they're saying, or whatever they are saying is not fitting their narrative, then that is considered hate speech and they get punished for it. Because comparing what this guy said and what Jimmy said, like, for him it's actually causing more damage than whatever Jimmy said, because he was just repeating what this guy said and he was just reacting to how the president was reacting on the unaliving of CK. Number two of what is actually causing homelessness in the United States of America is economic inequality. The US has a large wealth gap, and you've seen millionaires and these big corporations that don't care about the common citizens, who actually in every single day in life trying to divide the American citizens, and people who are actually dumb enough, they fall for that, and they think that the person who is actually supporting the political party that they're not supporting are the problem. But the real problem that America is facing is not about even white privilege, it's about rich or wealth privilege, where the wealthier people have that privilege of doing anything they want, have that privilege of dividing people as they want, have that privilege of pushing anything they want out there, as long as they're benefiting and they don't care who is suffering when they are gaining. Number three of it being mental health and addiction, where many people are experiencing homelessness struggle with untreated mental health conditions or substance use disorders, and the US mental health system is underfunded, and this is the reason why these people that are actually suffering from mental health and addiction cannot get help when the health system is underfunded. And you want to sit there and ask yourself, why is the government not in a position to fund this mental health system for them to be able to help their citizens? I mean, at some point, these are people that actually were paying taxes. They still do, because at the end of the day, even if they're homeless, they're buying food, they're buying other things. Just because they don't own a house doesn't mean that they're not paying into taxes, and the government don't want to find on a way that they can actually help these people. It's so crazy that this is actually happening, and it's a topic in the United States of America in 2025, while this country is very quick and very fast to offer aid outside America to other people. And this administration even allowing people to come and say that these people should be wiped out or unalived, while they know they promised that they were going to make America great again. They were going to put American citizens first, but now, what are you doing to homeless people in the United States of America? You also, what happened the other day where they went to take those tents and clear the streets, and where do you expect these homeless people to go? Some of them don't even have a job. The unemployment number is still going up. Black women are still getting fired from their workplaces after they rolled back on DEI. And when someone gets homeless because of the situations that the government and politicians have created, you want to blame them. People have been paying to taxes. You know, when you promised about putting American first and making America great again, is this the greatness that you meant? Because people are suffering every single day. Every single day you're seeing different problems that are actually facing and affecting American citizens. Another problem that actually is affecting America and the American citizens is lack of social safety nets. Compared to other wealthy countries, as you know out here that America is one of the greatest countries that we have in the world, and people are always trying to cross oceans to go to America. People are trying to overstay their visa, risk their life to stay and live there illegal, because they believe this is where you can actually build and create wealth. But now this country is lacking social safety nets, and comparing it to other countries, it has fewer social programs to help people when they fall into crisis, and limited access to healthcare, unemployment benefits, or long-term housing assistance pushes some people into homelessness. And it's been happening, and we've seen it happening. We've seen someone who had such a beautiful home, and just something happens, and it's just like a snap of your fingers and they've lost their home. It's quite crazy that you're even seeing a mom trying so hard living with their child in the car. You're even seeing veterans, people who've put their life in line for this country, suffering from homelessness and mental health crisis. But these politicians or these leaders are not willing to help them. I mean, It's so sad that we even seeing veterans, people who served for this country, suffering from homelessness, when they should even be getting maybe a house when it comes to their retirement, that they should not be paying anything for that house because they earned that. They put their life in line for this country. So many of them are even suffering from mental health issues, and whatever, or the good thing that this administration thought they could do is taking the VA benefits away from them. And now you want to wipe out the homeless people in the US. Why? Because they cannot afford to have a home, including veterans, including single mothers, including men who are suffering from unemployment. I've just realized after doing this, there is also systematic issues. Racial inequality plays a role. Black and Native American communities are disproportionately affected by homelessness. The criminal justice system also feeds into it. Incarceration often makes it harder to find stable housing or employment later, which is quite sad, because even to per what I had done my research, it's showing that Black Americans make up to 13% of the population, but they are suffering 40% of the homeless, which this should not be happening. And now people are getting angry and people are calling this man out, because when you go and look at the percent of white Americans, they make up to 60% of the population, but 50% of homeless from white Americans or European Americans. You see, it's not only affecting Black Americans, it's also affecting white Americans. So the problem, as I've said, is not about white privilege, or it's not about racial issue. The problem that American citizens are facing and America is facing right now, and the problem that they've been facing, and the thing that they actually missed, was rich privilege, where these millionaires are always finding a way of separating the common citizens for their own personal benefit. When you look at veterans and displacement, veterans make up to a noticeable part of the homeless population due to PTSD, disabilities, and difficulties reintegrating into civilian life. Some areas also see homelessness spike after natural disaster, gentrification, or housing redevelopment that displaces low-income residents. You see, when there is something like development and you want to, displace people, at least don't just let them go like that. Look for a place where you can build affordable housing, because if the government want, they can, because they can afford it. Also talking about these veterans that are actually facing homeless in the US, these are people who are actually suffering from disabilities, and a lot of the things that they're actually going through, mental health issues, but you want to sit there and say the people that actually put their life in line because of you, because of this country, for them to be unalived. It's quite sad, guys, but I don't know what you all think, but I would really love to know what your thoughts or what your take is on the comment section. This episode is just for education purposes only. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't. Give this video a like, and until the next episode, bye.